Alright, so this is going to be a one-year review of the ACE virtual shooting app in connection with the MetaQuest headsets. I've got it currently set up on the 3S model. I'm going to break down the video into three sections. The first one is how the app has changed over the last year. The second will be a change in my performance. And then the third section will be on how the ACE virtual shooting app can supplement a training program. So the first thing we're going to look at is the guns. If you go to the workbench here, browse guns. They've added like the Sand Viper. There's the Pit Viper in here. That Sand Viper, Pit Viper guns are the ones that Keanu Reeves used in the John Wick 4 film. The Lugo Arms, Alien. They've added the Staccato HD P series, P4, which is the Staccato 2011 that runs on the Glock pattern magazines. They've also added some new optics, the Trijicon RMR HD, the Holosun 507C Comp that have the big windows, the Vortex Defender XL, big windows. So if you like the big windows when you're shooting, it works out pretty nicely. This is the Sand Viper. It's not a bad gun. It's a 2011 variant. But what I really like about it is if you watch carefully, I'll just kind of shoot off into the desert here, you'll see the muzzle blast come out of the comp. That's some pretty good detail. If we look back on our main board, skills haven't changed. The thrills, they've taken the with a pencil stage and actually named it the Terran Tactical Range. They've changed it just a little, but they gave them a whole lot of love on that. They've added the Ronin Tactics Urban Defense. They teamed up with Ronin Tactics. The owner of Ronin Tactics is a retired, I believe he's retired, Army Special Forces operator, and he kind of set it up as a program called the Scrambler. And it's essentially a shooting gallery. You get good guys, bad guys, movers, and you got 1 minute to try and shoot as many as possible. But the real big change is in the drill section. And in the last year, they've added about 40 new stages. And as you can tell here, they just added some. The GTO Fastra, Lock and Load, and V-Crown were just added today. Today is December 13th. If you might remember from my initial video, I went live for the first time on December 11th. In the last year, I've missed 1 day of training. Every other day I've shot. My system's gone with me to Pennsylvania, DC, California. I've gotten some mods and plenty of rounds on it. If we kind of look back at the board here, so right there, over 500,000 rounds. Not as good as some of the guys out there. If you get in the Facebook forums, some of the guys out there, there's a few people who've crossed 1 million rounds. They've done really well for themselves. Also in the Facebook forums, if you look and get involved with those folks, they post some videos on how to shoot through some of the different stages. It's pretty interesting. The more I watch them, I'll go through the same patterns they do, but then I'll look at my finger and my finger just does not move that fast. When you get to a certain age, certain parts of the body just don't work like they do for youngest folks. But you can tell they've added some stages, plates and doors, turkey steel. All right, those are kind of Thanksgiving themed. All right, so you got little turkeys, steel plates. We go back to the hut. All right, perfect timing, shuffle, tight ports and Mickey. Those are from the CZ Eric Roffel IGA Cup. It's an annual competition that he kind of teams up with CZ to put together. They've got some really interesting stages. The shootout, you're behind a vehicle. You got 2 targets here. You got to stay in this box. You come up. You got 4 plates right there. Those 2 red poppers, they open the door or they start moving targets around. I'm gonna go back to the hut. Look at our different stages. All right, you got Halloween 25. You got to shoot the smaller pumpkins and then shoot the carve out of the face. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. Think of Me, Ashes to Ashes, 7 Bullets. Those are kind of inspired by the John Wick film. Think of Me, I believe, is from the spa scene in John Wick 1. I think Ashes to Ashes is from the church parking lot in John Wick 1. And then 7 Bullets, I believe, is themed from John Wick 2 in the museum. As Lawrence Fishburne says, $7 million gets you 7 rounds. Descent in Madness, the Terran Tactical Hip Fire. They actually started adjusting the position of the gun so that if you brought the gun away from your hip position, they would actually recognize that as a miss. So they've gotten very good in how close the controller is to the headset, what angle it works. Pretty detailed on that. Got a lot of stages. Divine Intervention is inspired by the Pulp Fiction scene where John Travolta and Sam Jackson are standing in the apartment. A kid comes out and just starts blasting rounds everywhere, and nobody gets hit. So your objective is to hit the steel plates without shooting the no-shoots. Interesting little challenge. A couple of these are pretty nice. You got a couple in here. All right, Car Trouble. You got a kind of a SUV. You've got to shoot through the windshield, move around, shoot those targets, and then shoot some targets in between the vehicle. So I'm just going to use the warp feature here to kind of walk through it. You got 2 targets there, and then targets over there. So they've gotten pretty in-depth with it. Got things to be, I don't want to say tactical, but a little bit more of a thinking game. All right, and the Juarez. Again, you've got 2 SUVs. You got to start in the red box. Got to step up, shoot along here, shoot through here, go to the far end, take out these targets, and then the Texas Star. It's a little bit of footwork. So again, I don't want to call them tactical stages, but you could look at it as self-defense shooting, or guys who are in law enforcement trying to get a little bit better understanding of moving it around in and around vehicles. All right, so they've done another Halloween 24. That was a stage they brought back from last year. You got to do a Mozambique drill on each of these, and then the 2 outer poppers there, they bring in this giant pumpkin with tannerite on it, and the objective is to try and hit the tannerite and get all 4 of the 5 poppers in the middle down. But again, you'll see that they'd added quite a few stages. Again, some of them are connections to the 2025 championships, national championships. All right, they've done pretty well. They like to keep members engaged. They don't want you just shooting the same stage over and over and over again. One of the things I've learned is you might find a stage that you really, really appreciate. You post a personal best, you'll get a lot of brass. Okay, awesome. If you get near your personal best, you'll get a few more pieces of brass. But you don't get brass every time you shoot it. So if you want to be recognized or kind of earn something out of it, besides just getting reps in, you've got to start pushing yourself harder and harder and harder. Okay. The lead again, that's to be able to shoot the stages for score. All right. The highest you get is 50. All right. So they've kind of changed things quite a bit. They've added quite a bit of stages, a lot of stuff going on. And they really want people to appreciate what they have. All right, so let's talk about my performance over the year. When I first made my video, I had mostly platinum and a few diamonds, and then there are a few gold medal stages in there. As we scroll through, I'm now down to 6 stages did I have a diamond, but I've aced everything else. Designated target is one of them. That one's made by Quonset Kim. You've got to put 2 rounds on a target 1, 2 and 2, 2 and 1, 2 and 3, 2 and 1, 2 and 4, and then back to 2 and target 1. That's a lot of work. There are a few guys out there who have aced it, and even though they post videos on it, I'm just not that good. Halloween 24, you saw that one earlier. That one had a diamond on it. Down the middle, that one I'm struggling with. But everything else in here, I've managed to get an ace. This one, Transition Hell, is made by Max Michel when he was over at SIG. Double tap, 2 hits on the cardboard, left steel, 2 hits on the right cardboard, right steel, and just kind of going back and forth all the way through it. So it's been a good challenge. Some of these I do enjoy quite a bit. One of my favorites is a stage called Hoser 1. And in my initial video, I managed to get a platinum run on it. But over time, I started thinking outside the box. As I've been shooting these stages, I kind of realized that the rules are very simple. Shoot all steel, 6 large rectangle plates require 1 hit. All other targets must fall. As long as you're in the box, you're good. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be dead center in the box. First time I shot it, I'd bring the gun up and I would shoot straight down the middle. Well, that's great, except that still takes time. Versus if I kind of stand to an edge, get on the edge of the box, now I have a little bit better angle to shoot all those targets while I'm waiting for that last one to fall. All right, so if I run this kind of on time here.
Stand by.
Not too bad. That got me a diamond. Definitely not one of my best runs. All right, if I kind of zoom up to the board here. So my all-time best jumped up to 1834 from that previous video. There's a 1377, not the greatest. My best time is 573. Not too bad. Let's see if we can do it again.
Stand by.
Yeah, 1411. Not too bad. Let me try one more time.
Stand by.
There we go. 1489, it got me back in the ace. But again, my best score is 1834. Some of the guys out there, if I look over here, all right, on the leaderboard, Maverick doing really solid on the scoreboard. He's number 1 on that one. That's 2458. That's pretty solid. All right, so as you can see, my performance over the years has drastically changed. Again, I mentioned in my first video, being in a, for lack of better terms, a safe environment that you can practice your transitions, going from target 1 to target 2 as fast as you can, makes a huge difference. It really does. Because if you go to a shooting range, very few ranges are going to let you shoot a gun really fast, have multiple targets, and not worry about shooting into a wall, into a berm, hitting someone else's target. So this really gives you an opportunity to take it to the next step. So my performance, my transitions my time on my transitions has drastically reduced. My split times, how fast I can press the trigger, have gotten a little bit better. Before I got heavy on the ace, I think I was about a 1/4 second split. Now I've gotten 0.18 is kind of my average. If I'm pushing hard, like on the bill drill in the Ace, I can hit a .13, I think is my fastest. But it's definitely not consistent. But it definitely gives you that opportunity to push and push and push and be in a safe environment and not have anybody get upset with you. So let's talk about how the Ace can help a training program. One of the things about the Ace that I've come to see is I can project the video to Chromecast, to my phone, so I can see exactly what the shooter's doing. Maybe not be able to see everything as far as bad trigger, whatever, but if I'm seeing that their target transitions are really slow, or they're spending too much time trying to make a precise shot, I can get them to open up. I have gotten in, I've gone and done some multiplayer time with one of my clients, and in about a half hour he had posted 2 of his personal bests, just really kind of letting go of the idea that precision is the only goal in shooting. In practical shooting, you could say defensive or tactical shooting, it's not just precision, it's a balance of speed and accuracy. You can be precise all day long, but if somebody puts 4, 5, 6 rounds down range and hits you before you get a chance to press the trigger, you're still going to end up losing. But along with that, if you think about dry fire in general, it's boring. If you just sit there, click, 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 dry fire your pistol, you're not going to get a whole lot out of it. But if we go to skills, all right, let's just work on accuracy. All right, that's a 6-inch plate. Do I get recoil in the real world? No, but do I see recoil? Yeah, I see recoil. But if I'm dry firing, just dry firing my pistol, I don't really know how accurate I am. So if I bring the gun up, okay, that's instant, immediate understanding of how accurate I am. All right, I get that immediate feedback, and if I miss it, I know. You don't really get that in regular dry fire. So right out of the gate, you get immediate feedback of what's going on, and you can fix it. There are other devices out there. There's the Mantis, there's the iTarget or StrikeMan, and all these different little laser bullets. The problem with some of them, or with most of them, if you're running a striker fire gun like a Glock or a Smith & Wesson M&P or something, you're constantly having to rack the slide. So you don't get the reps as far as multiple rounds downrange. With the dry fire mag, they did come out with a newer version that resets or pushes your trigger back in position and has a laser bullet. So you can get some dry fire out of that. But again, you're kind of limited as far as what all you can do in your environment. Whereas here, I can go wherever I want. I can do shoot a stage. I can shoot multiple targets, do whatever, and I get that immediate feedback. With those laser cartridges, you need a target or something to activate or record your shots. There's airsoft that has an initial expense, but then you got to worry about cleanup. You got to buy more BBs. You got buy more gas, more batteries. If you get the cool fire system, you get repetition or you get the recoil, but you don't get all the benefits. You get recoil, cool. So it helps dry fire, but getting that feedback on hits, again, I get that immediate feedback. If you do a lot of live fire, where do you fill your magazines? Do you fill them at home before you go to the range? And let's say you're shooting a Glock 17. Standard Glock 17, depending on where you live, comes with 17 round magazines. You get 3 magazines. So you're pushing 50 rounds. So if you fill your magazines before you get to the range, you shoot through those magazines. If that's all you're going to do, that's fine. But then you got to refill your magazines if you're going to shoot more. And how much time does it take to fill the magazines, whether you're at home or at the range? How much time does it take you to go to the range and get back? And then depending on what range you use, if you have property, that's cool. But if you're having to use a public range, now you're paying somebody. You can do all of that without having to worry about the time on filling magazines, without the drive, all in the comforts of your own home, or as I spend most of my time at my office. If you look at, let's go back to Hoser 1. Okay, that's 21 pieces of steel right there. If I want to do reloads, I can do reloads. It's not that big a deal. But if you think about most magazines, let's say I've got a PMag 21 for a Glock 9mm. Okay, it's 21 rounds. I can clear that entire thing right out of the gate. Cool. Well, if you're shooting live rounds, that's 20 cents, 25 cents a round, plus reloads. And where are you going to be able to get enough to be able to shoot, or a space that you can shoot all of these targets as fast as you can, and then not have to worry about cleanup? That's a big thing, not having to worry about cleanup. If I get done running this, let's say I went to a live range where I could shoot this, have 3 magazines, however many magazines. Of course, the more magazines, you got to fill them sometime. But if I blow through, say, 3 magazines, now I got to take time to refill magazines. With the Ace, I just hit the button and I'm back in it. Now, along with that, what I've learned is tension. Whenever you throw a bad shot or you don't get a personal best, you get frustrated. That frustration turns to tension, tension in the gun, tension is in the shoulders, tension's in your body. Tension is the killer of good shooting. Good meaning fast and accurate. The more tense your body is, the harder it is to move the trigger, the harder it is to move from one target to another, the harder it is just to move your body from point A to point B. So I get to that frustration level faster, and it's a constant reminder to relax. But if you're out of range, you're filling magazines. Whenever you're filling magazines, that naturally lets your body decompress. Okay, you're spending money because you're at someone's range, but it gives you a chance to decompress. Here, I hit that wall a lot faster, and it's a constant reminder, relax, relax, relax. When I relax, I get a personal best. All right. Now, in full disclosure, as I'm making this video, about a month or 2 after I posted my first video, Ace made a request for people to be brand ambassadors, kind of like sponsored shooters, I guess. I sent my resume. I sent them the video link, or the link to the video I posted on YouTube. I do have a link. If you're interested in getting the app, saving yourself some money, I'll put it in the description below. I don't stress about it. I'm not here to sell the app to make money. I'm posting this video because I want shooters to be better. Whether you're a competitive shooter, a responsibly armed citizen, a law enforcement officer, somebody in the military, I believe that if you have access to guns, you need to be responsible. You need to be proficient. And there's too many people in the world right now carrying guns that really need more training. And the biggest excuse I hear is, I don't have time. 5 minutes a day in the Ace changes everything. Whether it's drawing the gun and getting your sights on target, whether it's accuracy, whether it's speed, or if you just want to have fun. Okay? If you want to go to the thrill section, all right, whack-a-mole. You got these tunnels, they pop up, you got different colored plates, and you can just sit there and have fun with it. But the more you shoot, the more repetition you get, the better of a shooter you'll become, the more reliable you will be if you need that gun. Whether it's in a competition stage, an officer-involved shooting, or just, you're out and about with your family. So I hope this video kind of brings to light some of the things they've changed. Good idea, seeing how my performance changed, kind of use it as a light at the end of the tunnel. Hey, you know what, this guy's done pretty good over the year, let me try it. I'm definitely not the best in the Ace. There are some guys out there that their names are constantly on the top of the leaderboard. There's some guys out there that I think one guy managed to get a million rounds in a single year. I think I'm on my trigger finger, and I got 500,000 rounds in a single year. That's a lot of time. And there is a huge third-party community for the ACE program. When you buy the ACE, you'll get access to either a SIG handle, a staccato handle, the Shadow Systems handles. But if you're a Glock shooter or a Smith & Wesson shooter, they don't sell handles like that, or pistol grips. So you can go and find some of these guys in the forums. I apologize if I mispronounce his name, but Peter Petrovsky, I bought a Glock from him because I generally shoot Glock. Shout out to FPS Holsters, because I ordered a holster. I put a weapon mounted light on my Glock from Pete. I got a holster for it, and I can do presentation reps just like I would with the gun I'm teaching with, a gun I carry on duty, or a gun that I carry with as an everyday armed citizen. So there's a huge community. There are guys out there that are posting videos, how to do it, how to get better. I've heard guys holding classes in the ACE on how to run stages better if you're first getting into USPSA style shooting, how to look at a stage, how to figure it out, how to get through it quicker. So I truly hope that if you're watching this video, you don't have it yet. Feel free to reach out to me, reach out to some of these other guys out there. There's a couple of forums on Facebook and other social media. Ask questions, get more information on it. I will say that one of the things that they did add, I apologize, I didn't put this in the update, but if you look in, they have a night feature. So we'll try that, and we'll do slicing a pie. This is pretty cool. So you have a mounted light on your pistol. All right, this is a slicing pie where you got the door's going to open. You got to find the bad guys, good guys. If you look carefully, you'll have a hot spot right in the middle, and then the outer edge, the corona or the flood. Generally, what I try to get people to do when I teach low light classes is use the corona. You don't have to have that hot spot on every single thing that you're trying to shoot. If the corona gives you enough information to identify if it's a good guy or bad guy or not, that's fine. So let's try this out. So I got the door going that way. All right, I'll bring the gun up a little bit, and I'll use that corona to bounce off the ground, that reflection. All right, so right there you can kind of see. All right, that's going to be a good guy, so I don't want to shoot them. I'll bring it up along the door to kind of double check. I'll come around. There's another. All right, so there's a bad guy. Standing right next to a good guy, so I'm going to bring the light down. All right, another bad guy. Bring it around. Bad guy. All right, again, I'm just keeping the light along the ground. Bad guy. And I can use the light to reflect, bounce off of the ground to identify if there's any good guys or bad guys. All right, and there's a good guy there. Okay. So there's some folks out there like, oh, they get stressed out about the light. It's a learning experience. If you're in law enforcement, or if you're always carrying a light, it's a good way to practice. All right. So now when you look at the light, it looks similar to a mod light, or it could be a Surefire Streamlight. But they do want people to get better. All right. Quick shout out. All right, now I have friends. In my first video, I didn't have any friends. If you know me, that's kind of the norm. But listen, folks, if you have questions, feel free to ask. Do research. Get in the app. Get better. All right. To quote my buddy Scott Jenlinski over at Modern Samurai Project, be good, stay safe, get training. Take care, y'all.